So, question number 1. Write down 2 factors of 12. So, these are the easy questions. I'm going to ask you to do it. So, write down 2 factors of 12. So, tell me in the chat 2 factors of 12. So, factors are like numbers that go into the number 12. So, there are multiple answers you can get. So, factors of 12, there is 1 times 12, is 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. Now you can write any number 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Either number would be correct when you put your answer there, okay? Either number will be correct. So well done for that. And then question number 2, find a third of 30. 1/3 of 30. So whenever you have a third of 30, what do we do? What is the answer, guys? So third of 30. So whenever we are finding fraction of amounts, you just do our number divided by our denominator. So 30 divided by 3, which is 10. So a third of 30 is 10. Okay? So question number 3, write 0.7 as a fraction. Write 0.7 as a fraction. Well done, Nico. Remember it needs to be as a fraction. So well done, Nico. It is 7 over 10 because this is our 10th column. So that means 10 is going to be our denominator over 7. So 7 over 10. So well done for getting that correct. And then lastly, question number 4. Here is a list of numbers 7, 8, 15, 16, 18, and 22. Write down the number from the list that is a multiple of 6. Write down a number from the list that is a multiple of 6. So there's only one number. Which one is it? Yes, it is 18. It is 18. Well done, guys. It is 18. So if you didn't know if it was 18, first of all, you would list out the multiples of 6, and then you'll spot the multiple, which was 18 right there. So well done if you got 18. So obviously, foundation papers always start off easy. So as you can see, they're going to be very easy questions first, and they're going to get to the hard questions at the end. So question number 5. Change 4 kilometers into meters. Change 4 kilometers into meters. So it's going to be conversion. So I'm going to give you a clue, guys. So 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. So how much is 4 kilometers in meters? Tell me in the chat right now. This question is worth 4 marks. Yes, it is 4,000 meters. So whoever got 4,000 meters, you're correct. So question number 6. Here is a grid of squares. Write down the ratio of the number of shaded squares to the number of unshaded squares. So the first thing you would do is start going to count how many shaded squares there are. There are 1, 2, 3 shaded squares. And then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 unshaded squares. Okay, unshaded squares. Now we have to write the ratio of the number of shaded squares to the number of unshaded squares. So it's going to be 3 to 5. And that will be your answer. 3 to 5. Okay? Well done, guys, for getting that correct. 3 to 5. That is very, very easy. Now moving on to question number 7. W is equal to 4u plus 3. Find the value of w when u is equal to 8. So this is a substitution question. So you have to substitute the value of u into our equation to find the value of w. So we're going to have w, which is equal to 4, and then you substitute our 8, and then adding 3. So what is 4 times 8? 4 times 8 is going to be 32, and then 32 plus 3 is going to be 35, and w is going to be 35, and that is going to be your answer, okay? Yes, guys, only like the first few questions, so it might be a bit easy. So, question number 8. Sorry. Here are the first 5 terms of a sequence. 1, 3, 6, 10, and 15. Write on the next 2 terms of the sequence. Write on the next 2 terms of the sequence. So the first thing you have to do is work out what is the sequence going up in. Like, what is the sequence doing? So you are adding 2, then we're adding 3, then we're adding 4, then adding 5. So we know that we're adding incrementally. So your next one can add 6. 15 plus 6 is going to be 21 for the next term. And then next one, you're going to add 7. That's going to be 28 for the 7th term. So it's going to be 28 there. And that's going to be your answer. Okay? So I think the first 2 pages was 1 and 2 mark questions. And now we're going to get to the harder questions now with like more wordy questions. So give a thumbs up in the chat if I find this easy. I should see lots of thumbs up because it's a bit easy. And guys, don't forget to follow as I do live every single day and you don't want to miss it out. Okay? Trying to reach 4,800. So let's move on to question number 9. Mrs. Brown asked each child in her class which pet they liked best. Here are her results. Now, complete the frequency table for this information. Complete the frequency table for this information. So you have a tally, and then we have the frequency, and the frequency is going to be a numerical value. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to count how many dog pets there are. How many dogs there are. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're going to put 8 as the frequency, and then you have to draw a tally for 8. That's going to be like this, and 3 like that. And then we're going to do the rabbits now. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 rabbits. So frequency is going to be 3, and then tally is going to be like that. Do the same for cat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is going to be the frequency, and then the tally, and then lastly we're going to have 2 left for the hamsters. 2 that's the frequency, and 2 as the tally. So this one's the easy part, worth 2 marks. Now on the grid, you have to draw a bar chart. Drawing a bar chart for this. So for this bar chart, you have to label each of the axes and then draw each individual bars. So the first thing you would do, you know that the numbers are going to go over here, the frequency is going to go over here, and then the pet is going to go on the x-axis. So we're going to have the dog here, and then the rabbit on this one, cat here, and then hamster in this one. And then once we have done that, we're going to label the frequency. This is going to be our frequency. And then we're going to have 0, 1, 2, 3, and just label it up the whole y-axis. Like that. So now once we have done that, we have already like done the table, so we have to like plot it. So we know that our bar chart for the dog is going to go up to 8, going to go up to here, and then we just have to draw like with a ruler. Now obviously I can't use a ruler because I'm on a computer. So then, you know, you're going to use a ruler and you're going to draw the bar chart. It's very, very easy. And then you keep on doing it for each of them. So the rabbit's going to be a 3. And then cat is going to be a 5. And then lastly, hamster is going to be 2. and that's going to be our answer. That's going to be our bar chart drawn. Okay, now for part C, you are asked to write the most popular pet. So what in the chat, tell me what is the most popular pet according to this table and this graph. What is the most popular pet? Is it the dog, rabbit, cat, or hamster? When I mean a popular, like that's like it's like the most thing that most occurring, like most frequency. It's like the mode. So it's gonna be the dog. The dog. It's the dog. I want you guys to contribute, okay? Then I know you guys are listening to me and not just daydreaming, okay? So now let's move on to our next question. Question number 10. So on the diagram above, draw a diameter of the circle. Draw the diameter of the circle. So we know that the diameter is 2 times the radius, okay? So we are going to draw the diameter. It's going to be from here, then to the center of the circle, and then it's going to be twice the radius. It's going to be like this, okay? That is going to be our diameter. So now once we have done that, we've drawn the diameter. Now it asks us on the diagram below, draw a segment of the circle, shade the segment. So you have to shade in the segment. So I'm just gonna do like this and then shade it in like this. There's gonna be a segment of our circle, okay? A segment is like a part of the circle. So like draw like a chord and then shade it in like that, okay? So that's easy 2 marks. You can get 2 marks. So that is very easy. Can you put the line anywhere? Yes, you can shade in any segment, but it needs to be a segment for this one. And for this one, the diameter, you can do it any direction. So you can do it like this, like anywhere, but it needs to be like the whole, it has to go from one point to the other point, and then it has to go through the center. If it doesn't go through the center, then you're wrong. It has to go through the center. For this one, and then for this one, it has to be less than a half. When's the higher paper? I'm going to do the higher paper tomorrow. So yesterday I was in the higher paper. Lots of people were there as well. I was in the higher paper yesterday. Today was the foundation day. So I'm going to do the higher paper tomorrow, okay? What's a chord? So a chord is like, it's inside a circle and it goes from one point of the circumference to another point. And then this joins together like this. That's a chord, okay? So give a thumbs up in the chat if you're ready to move on to our next question. What papers for the maths higher GCSE mock on Tuesday? So I don't know. I actually don't know. This is paper 3 calculator. Paper 3 calculator foundation paper. So question number 11. Dylan buys 13 bicycle lights for £7.50 each. He pays with 5 £20 notes. How much change did Dylan get? So the first thing you have to do is that we have to see how much he spent. So we have to do 13 times £7.50. See how much he spent. So this is a calculator paper, so you're going to put this into the calculator, use a calculator to calculate it, and then you're going to get £97.50. So he spent £97.50. Now we know that he pays with 5 £20 notes. So 5 £20 notes is going to be 5 times 20, which is £100 in total. Now we need to work out the change. So we're going to do £100 minus £97.50 is equal to £2.50 change, and that is going to be Dylan's change. £2.50. Now, part B is the normal price of the bicycle is £120. In a sale, there is a fifth of the normal price of the bicycle. Work out the price of the bicycle in sale. Work out the price. So, what you can do is that you have to work out a fifth of 120 and then subtract it, or you can use like the multiplier method. So, you can either find out 1/5 of 120, which will be 24, and then you can do 120 minus 24, which will be 96. Then the price is worth £96 with the sale, or you can just do 0.8 times by 120 to get 96, okay? Because the multiplier method or this method, okay? Both of them work. So, let's move on to our next question. Question number 12. So, how do you work out a fraction of a number? So, a fraction of a number. So, since it's a calculator paper, you don't need to actually work it out. So, if you put in your calculator 1/5, 1/5 times by 120, you would get your answer. This is a calculator paper, so you put it into your calculator and then you get it correct, okay? Get your answer. Or you can do 120 divided by 5. So you don't get part B. So you know the normal, you are given the normal price of a bicycle, and then there's a sale on the bicycle, and you have to calculate the sale price. So what you do is that you work out a fifth of £120. So you do 120 divided by 5 to get £24. So a fifth of £120 is £24. Now, since it's a sale, you do 120 minus 24 to get £96. So the sale price is going to be £96, okay? £96. So does that make sense now? Okay. So question number 12 is worth 3 marks. Cornflakes are sold in 2 sizes of box. A small, which has a weight of 450 grams, large, 750 grams. Ray buys 3 small boxes of cornflakes and some large boxes of cornflakes. In total, she buys 5,850 grams of cornflakes. Work out the number of large boxes of cornflakes Ray buys. So, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to do 450, which is the weight of a small box. 450 times by 3, because you bought 3 small boxes. So you do 450 multiplied by 3. Now you will use a calculator for this, and you're going to get 1,350 grams. So the small boxes have a total weight of 1,350 grams. So you're going to do 5,850 grams, which is the total. 5,850 grams minus 1,350, which is equal to 4,500 grams. Now this is the total for the large boxes, okay? Total for the large boxes. Now to work out how many large boxes there are, we have to do 4,500 divided by 750 to get the number of large boxes. Put that into the calculator, and you're going to get 6 large boxes in total. So your answer is going to be 6 large boxes. Cool. This is paper free, guys. Paper free foundation. It's paper free foundation today. So let's move on to our next question. Question number 13. The stem and leaf diagram below gives information about the ages of people in a social club. Find the range of these ages, and the key is 4 and then /2 represents 42 years. So in the chat, can you tell me what the definition of range is? How do you calculate the range? What does range mean? What does range mean? Because I'm getting some good guesses, but yes, it's when you subtract the biggest value, the biggest thing, minus the smallest. So in this case, we're going to be subtracting the biggest age by the smallest age. Now, the biggest age is 74. Biggest age is 74. Minus the smallest age, which is 31. Then the 74 minus 31, which is 43. Then the range of these ages is 43 years. 43 years. So the mean is when you add every single value you're given and divide it by the number of values. And then the mode is the highest occurring number, the highest frequent number. If I explain that well. So that was a very easy question. 2 marks. This is paper 3, guys. Calculator foundation level for today. Do you explain higher papers? Yes, I also do. I also walk through higher papers as well. So I did the higher paper yesterday. So I'll do the higher paper tomorrow as well. So if you already haven't followed, please follow as I do, as you can then get a notification and all that stuff. So what grade is this? I think this might be grade like 4 or 5. This stem and leaf diagram, okay? Specifically. Calculating the range from a stem and leaf diagram. What time tomorrow is going to be the same time as today, around 7 o'clock. So let's move on to our next question, question number 14. Okay, here is a rectangle, okay? You have a rectangle here. Kobe has to find the perimeter of this rectangle. He writes perimeter is equal to 7 times 3. What mistake has Kobe made? What is the mistake Kobe made? In the chat, tell me. It's a very, very common mistake that he actually made. What is the mistake he made? And it's very easy to spot as well. Yes, he worked out the area instead. He worked out the area instead. Good. Now, here is a triangle now. Iram solves a problem about this triangle to find the value of x. Her answer is x is equal to minus 2. Explain why Iram's answer must be wrong. How is his answer wrong? Look at it carefully. X is equal to minus 2. Why is he wrong? X is equal to minus 2. He has to add, not to divide. That is not it. So it's actually very simple, actually. It's just a length cannot be a negative value, right? You have never seen a length that is like a negative number. So a length of a triangle cannot have a negative length. So if x is negative, then that means he's wrong. So a length cannot be negative. Cannot be negative. Okay. So this question was worth 2 marks about shapes. Okay. We have 4 mark question now, so we can get to the hard stuff. 4 mark question. So there are 800 students at a school. Each student has either a school dinner or a packed lunch. 31% of the students have a packed lunch, and 55% of the students are boys. 60% are 60% of the boys have school dinners. How many girls have packed lunches? So can someone guess what type of table do we have to draw to work this out? What type of table do we have to draw? What type of table? It's not a frequency. It's not a frequency tree. Now, if you draw a table, guys, it's gonna be a bit more easier to work out. I'm doing it right now. It's not a pie chart. Yes, we're gonna use the two-way table. Well done, Chills. Well done, Chills. So we're gonna use the two-way table. And shush. So for this over here, we're gonna have the total over here. Obviously, we have the total here and the total here. So we have boys and girls. And then we also have school dinners over here. And then we have packed lunch. Now, once we have done that, now it's going to fill in our stuff. So we know that there are 800 students in total. 800 students in the school. So we know that there's going to be, the 800 is going to go over here. 800 is going to go right there. Because that's the total. Okay? And then 31% of the students have packed lunches. So we know that we're going to be looking at this one over here. So we have to do, we're going to be using multipliers to work this out. So multipliers. So we're going to do 0.31 times 800 on your calculator to get 248. And that's going to be the total number of people that have packed lunches. 248 is going to go over there. And then we have done that. Now 55% of the students are boys. So we're going to do 0.55 times 800 to get 440. That means the total number of boys are 440. So 440 is going to go over here. And then lastly, 60% of the boys have school dinners. So we know that there are 440 boys in total. Then we have to do 60% of 440. So we're going to do 0.6 times 440 to get 264. So 264 is going to go over here in school dinners. Now we have filled in some parts of the two-way table. Now we can fill in everything else. So first of all, we can work out how many boys have packed lunches, because we could do the total minus the school dinners. So 440 minus 264 to get 176. So 176 is going to go there. And then we can work out the number of girls who have packed lunch. So we're going to do 248 minus 176 to get 72. 72 is going to go over there. Now, we do not have to fill in the other part of the two-way table. Because look, we are asked to find out how many girls have packed lunches. We already worked out girls that have packed lunches. It's 72, right? So we don't have to complete the rest of the two-way table. We've gotten our answer, so we can write 72 right there. 72 is going to be your answer. Okay? Put a thumbs up in the chat if you understand. It's a 4-mark question, and you needed to work out that you had to use a two-way table. You have to realize. Okay? Well done, guys. So, moving on to question number 16. So, in a bag, there are only red counters, blue counters, green counters, and yellow counters. A counter is taken at random from the bag. The table shows the probabilities of getting a red counter or a yellow counter. So the number of blue counters, the number of green counters, 3, 2, 4, complete the table. So the first thing we know is that probabilities always add to 1, right? Probabilities always add to 1 if they're decimals. So we're going to do the probability of red and the probability of yellow. We're going to add them up. So we're going to do 0.4 plus 0.25. Add them together, we're going to get 0.65. And then we're going to do 1 minus 0.65 to get 0.35. Now that is the total probability of adding a blue and a green. That's the probability of getting a blue and green added together. So we are given the ratio of the number of blue counters to the number of green counters, 3 to 4. So we know that total parts, that this ratio has a total of 7 parts. Basically, we do 3 plus 4, we're going to get 7, right? Now, we have to share 0.35 in the ratios of 7. So we're going to do 0.35 divided by 7 first to get 0.05, which is worth 1 part of the ratio. 1 part of the ratio. Now we're going to share it in the ratio 3 to 4. So we're going to do 3 times 0.05 to get 0.15. And then 4 times 0.05 to get 0.2. So it's going to be 0.15 to 0.2, and then we can complete the table to 0.15 there and 0.2 over there. And then if you wanted to check your answer if you were correct, you would add all of them up, and if you add all of them up, you would get a total of 1. That means you have done everything correct and you got the correct answer. Okay? Worth 4 marks. Easy question. So you want me to go through it again? No problem. So we are given the ratio, number of blue counters to the number of green counters is 3 to 4 ratio. So we know that probabilities always add up to 1, right? Total probability always add to 1. So we are going to do 0.4 plus 0.25 to get 0.65 and subtract it by 1 to get 0.35. So we know that it's the total blue, the probability of blue to the probability of green is going to be 0.35. To calculate the probabilities individually, we have to share 0.35 into 7 parts, okay? So we have to work out what 1 part is. 1 part is going to be 0.35 divided by 7 to get 0.05, which is 1 part of our ratio. And then we're going to share it into our ratio. We're going to do 3 times 0.05 to get 0.15, and then 4 times 0.05 to get 0.2. So then we know that the probability of getting a blue is 0.15, and the probability of getting a green is 0.2, and that is how you get your probabilities of blue and green. Okay? Where did you get 1 minus 0.65? I got 1 minus 0.65 over here. So we know that probabilities add up to 1, so that's why I subtracted 0.65 by 1. Okay? So should we move on to our next question? Give a thumbs up in the chat if you are ready to move on to the next question. And guys, follow if you already haven't. I do live every single day, and I need 21 more followers to get to my live goal for today. So, moving on to question number 17. Complete the table values for y is equal to 4x minus 6. Y is equal to 4x minus 6. So, whenever we have table values, we have x and y. So, what we need to do, you have to substitute the value of x into our given equation. Get the value of y. So we have y is equal to 4, and then x minus 6. We already been given the values of x, but we need to use to find the value of y. So when x is equal to minus 1, then we know that y will equal to minus 10. Why? Because if you do 4 times negative 1, you'll get negative 4. And then negative 4 minus 6 will be negative 10. Then you keep on doing that for every single term. So then you would do 0, substitute the value of 0 with the x, you put 0 here. So 4 times there's going to be 0, minus the 6 is going to be minus 6. And then after you have done like 2 or 3, you spot a pattern. As you can see, we are adding 4 both, every time we are adding 4 whenever we go up. So we're going to do minus 2 plus 4 to get 2, then 2 plus 4 to get 6, 6 plus 4 to get 10, and that's how you would get it. That's how you know you're correct. And then, part B, you have to draw it. You have to draw it, okay? It's Edexcel, guys. It's Edexcel. So, after we have done that, it's foundation. It's foundation paper-free calculator, so you can use a calculator for this as well. So you can use a calculator for this. Calculators are allowed. So now for part B, you're asked to draw the graph of y is equal to 4x minus 6 for values of x from minus 1 to 4. So this is very, very simple because you already know the coordinates. Just need to plot them in and just draw the straight line. Because we know the coordinate when x is equal to minus 1, then we know that y is equal to minus 10. So when x is equal to minus 1, we know that y will equal to negative 10. So you plot that there. And then when x is equal to 0, we know that y is equal to 6. Plot that there. 1 and then negative 2. And keep on plotting it. When x is equal to 2, y is equal to 2, 3, and then 6, and then 4, 10. Like that. And then once we have done that, then use a ruler to connect them straight line. Straight line to connect them like that. Okay, and then that is going to be your straight line for the graph of y is equal to 4x minus 6. So, do you guys get it? 4 mark as well. Moving on to question number 18. Reflect shape P in the line y is equal to minus 3. Reflect shape P in the line y is equal to 3. the first thing you have to do, we're going to quickly like visually draw it, like draw the reflection, the mirror line. So y is equal to 3. Y is equal to 3. It's going to be this specific line, mirror line over here. Now what we're going to do, we have to now reflect the shape on this mirror line. So this is going to be a mirror line. You have to reflect the shape. So when this is the mirror line, we know that this is going to be like this and like that. Okay? And then you will just connect the shapes together like that. And then you would have your reflected shape. And then that's your answer then. That's simple. So yes, you can go into the y-axis. You can like go through it. So I'll go through it again, okay? I'll go through it again. So we have to reflect the shape P in the line y is equal to 3. So we know that the mirror line is y is equal to 3. The mirror line is y is equal to 3. So we have to draw the mirror line first. Y is equal to 3. Y is equal to 3. The mirror line is this one right there. Because y is equal to 3, I just draw the line, okay? Now once you've done that, that is our mirror line. And when you know the mirror line, then everything else is very easy. You just have to reflect the shape. So then we know that this shape P reflected on the mirror line is going to be this right there. Now that is my horrible drawing of a rectangle triangle. Like that. And you can actually go through the axes. You have to like draw it, okay? So do you guys get it now? Why does the line have to be dashed? It doesn't have to be dashed, but I always do like mirror lines dash. You just what I just do. You won't lose the mark if you don't do it like dashed. So it's your personal preference. It doesn't have to be dashed. Why can't you start drawing for free? You can draw it the whole way. It's just your mirror line. So you can just start from here, go straight there. And as you can see, you guys know that I can't draw straight lines. So yeah. Yes, it's still foundation. I think these questions at the end, I think we're coming to like the end of the paper, like the near end. So some of these questions are on the higher paper as well, okay? So if you're doing higher, you can still watch this. Some of these questions still come up on the higher paper, okay? So let's move on to question number 19. We need to solve 4x minus 6 is equal to 44. 4 then brackets x minus 6 equal to 44. So we know that we have to expand these brackets. Expand it. So we have to do 4 times x, which is going to be 4x, and 4 times negative 6 is going to be negative 24, which is equal to 44. Now we're going to rearrange it to make x the subject. So we're going to add 24 first, which will be 4x, which is equal to 68. And then to get rid of this 4, what we're going to do is divide it by 4 on both sides to get x, which is equal to 17. X, which is equal to 17, and that will be your answer. X is equal to 17. So I don't know why they gave this type of question near the end of the paper. It should be like at the start of the paper, personally. So are you guys confident with solving equations? Because you have to expand, like you have to expand the brackets, because then you can't really solve it. You have to expand the brackets. So that's looking good. So question number 20, we have Venn diagrams. So the universal set is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1 to 13. And then we have category A, which is a multiples of 3. Category B, which is even numbers. You have to complete the Venn diagram. You have to complete the Venn diagram. So we have 30 questions, guys. 30 questions. So we only have like 10 questions left. So the first thing you would do, you're going to list out the multiples of 6 first, which is 3, 6, 9, and 12. We can't go further because then it won't be in the universal set. And even numbers, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then 12. Okay? We can only go up to 12 because then it will not be in the universal set. Now the first thing you would do, you're going to find the numbers which are common in both sets, both categories. Numbers which are common in both categories. As you can see, we have 12 common in both of them, and we also have 6 common. 6, as you can see, we have 6 common as well. So then we know that in the intersection, we would have 6 and 12 in the middle, which one they are overlapping each other. So I'm just going to cross these out, so then we don't have to interfere with them. So let's just, okay, cross them out. And then lastly, let's have to write the remaining in their own circles. So for A, which is going, I'm just going to label this A and B. For A, you're going to have 3 and 9. And then for B, it's going to be 2, 4, 8, and then 10. Now, once we have done that, we are now going to look at our universal set, and we're going to see what numbers are remaining, which numbers are left out. So we have done 2. 2 is gone. 3 is gone. 4 is gone as well. 5 is still there. 6 is gone. 7 is still there. 8 done. 9 done. 10 done. 11 is still there. 12 is done. So we have 1, 5, 7, 11, and 13 left. So these 5 numbers are going to go outside of those 2 circles. So they're going to be here. 1, 5, 7, 11, 13. You still have to put the remaining numbers outside. That's why there's a box. That is why there's a box outside the Venn diagram. You still have to put those 5 numbers outside of the 2 circles, the 2 Venn diagram categories. So that was a very easy 4 marker. Just had to complete it. 4 marker. Well done for getting that correct. So question number 21. Franco buys a house for £146,500. He sells the house for £158,220. Calculate the percentage profit Franco makes. Yes, this is a calculator paper, guys. Am I going live tomorrow? Yes, I go live every single day. So, yes, I will be going live tomorrow. That's why you need to follow. And so, does anyone know the formula that we're going to be using to calculate the percentage profit. What is the formula we're going to be using? The percentage change formula. What is it? Does anyone know? So the formula is change divided by original. Change divided by original times by 100. That is our formula. Okay. So how come I went live early today? So because I think half term is ending for majority of people, majority of students. So I'm gonna do it early today because most students go to bed. So then there won't be a lot of people watching me. So I have to do it a bit early. Okay. So now we know the formula. Now we have to use the formula to work out the percentage profit. So the change is going to be the difference in this, okay? So we have to work out the difference. It's going to be 1,508 and 158,220 minus 146,500. Then divide it by the original value, which was 146,500, times it by 100. You use a calculator to do this. Put everything on this, put everything this you see over here into the calculator, and your calculator will give you a grand total of 8%. And that is going to be your answer. That's a very easy question. 3 marks. No, the formula for percentage loss, percentage change, you have to memorize it. So they don't actually give it to you. You have to memorize it. It's not a very hard formula to remember. So you can memorize it. So let's move on to question number 22. Some algebra. Expand and simplify. X plus 5 in brackets and then x minus 9. So it's going to be expanding double brackets. So we have x plus 5 and then we have x minus 9. So first I'm going to do x times x, which is going to be x squared. X times minus 9 is going to be minus 9x. 5 times x, which is going to be plus 5x. And then finally, 5 times negative 9, which will be minus 45. And then you will simplify this. These two letters, these two like terms, you're going to simplify this. It's going to be x squared plus 4, minus 4x, sorry, minus 4x minus 45 is going to be your final simplified expression. Yes, I do read the chat. I do read the chat, Proxy. So, that was an easy question. Factorize fully 9x squared plus 6x. So whenever we do this, whenever we're factorizing, we have to find the highest common factor. Highest common factor. So in this specific one, we have 9x squared plus 6x. The highest common factor for the numbers is 3. We know the highest common factor is going to be 3. But we also can see that 1x is common in both of these terms. So 3x will be our highest common factor. And then it's going to be a single bracket. And then we're going to do 9x squared divided by 3x, which will be 3x. And then 6x divided by 3x, which will be plus 2. And that will be your factorized answer. Cool. Now, question number 23. Use your calculator to work out this. Write down all the figures you see on your calculator display. Write all the figures on the calculator display. I am not going to lie, this is the easiest question. Easiest question you could ever get. They literally just told you to put this in your calculator and just press the equal sign and then write down everything you see on the calculator. You know what you just have to put? Every single digit. You just put 157.6682225. That is everything you see on your calculator. That's it. I'm not doing no counting paper tonight. I'm just doing the higher paper. I'm sorry. I'm only doing the calculator paper foundation level. So you can't round it to 157.7. In the question, it says write down all the figures on the calculator display. So you have to write every single digit you see. But for this question, you're correct. You have to do it to 157.7. You have to round it to 4 significant figures. It's going to be 157.7. So well done, guys. We're getting that correct. Now let's move on to question number 24. The scatter graph shows information about the marks a group of students got in a science test and a maths test. Jamie got a mark of 34 in the science test. Use a scatter graph to find the estimate for Jamie's mark in the math test. So what we need to do is, first thing you would do is going to draw a line of best fit. A line of best fit. So a line of best fit is when you try to touch most points on the scatter graph, or you try to go in the direct middle. So I would try to stay in the middle for this one because it's not like a strong correlation, but it's still a positive one. So I would now use a ruler for this as well. It will be like this. And then, now what to do on your line of best fit, you have to use the scatter graph to find an estimate for Jamie's mark in the math test. So if she got 34 in the science test, how much she would get in her math test. So we're going to go to 34 for science test. So she got 34. Look over here. Go up. And then go across. So she got 39. So if she got 34, approximately she'll probably get 39. Okay, that is our estimate. Now in the mark scheme, it says you can give they allow you to give answers from 35 to 42. So any answer between this range is correct. How do you know when to draw a curved line of best fit and a straight one? Normally it's a straight line. It's always 99% of the time it's a straight line of best fit. Unless you do further maths, it's probably going to be curved. For GCSEs, just worry about straight lines. So let's move on to question number 25. The table gives information about the times taken in seconds by 18 students to run a race. Work out an estimate for the mean time. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. So, whenever we have this type of question, we have to create a new column called the fx. Now, the fx is just the median value for inequality times our frequency. First thing you do is that you're going to find median point the median point between 5 and 10 is going to be 7.5. There's a midpoint, 7.5, and then it's going to be 12.5 for this one, 17.5 for this one, and then 22.5 for this one. And once you have done that, to find the fx, you will do the median point multiplied by the frequency. And always remember, you have your calculator with you. 7.5 times by 1 is going to be 7.5. Then 12.5 times 2 is going to be 25. Then do everything, times them together, then you get that. How did you find the midpoint? To find the midpoint, the easiest method is, if you can't spot it, then you just do 5 plus 10, add these two numbers, and then divide it by 2. Because 5 plus 10, you 5 plus 10, you get 15. 15 divided by 2 is going to be 7.5. That is going to be the same for everything else. Now, once you've done that, you've got your fx. Now you're going to add them all up, add the fx column together, and you'll get 335. Add them together, you're going to get 335. So now, guys, once you have done that, now to calculate the mean, what we need to do the 335, then divide it by the 18 students, which will give you 18.61. And then you have to give it to 3 significant figures, which will be 18.6 to 3 significant figures. So that will be your answer, 18.6 seconds, okay? 18.6 seconds will be your answer. So, is there foundation papers every night? It's not every day. I do higher and foundation, so tomorrow I'll be doing higher. Where do you get 18? Because we have 18 students. We have 18 students. So give a thumbs up in the chat if you're ready to move on to our next question. So we only have like 5 questions left to go through. So let's move on. So you actually have 5 questions left. So we are here. Question number 26. Write 37 centimeter cubed in millimeter cubed. So just in the chat, ask curiosity, do you know how to do this? Question number 26. Do you know how to do it? No, this one is not times by 100 because we have like a cubed sign in it. Yes, it's times by 1,000, guys. It's times by 1,000. It's times by 1,000. So you just do 37 times by 1,000 to get 37,000 millimeter cubed. I think a trick to do this is because you know that there's a cube sign, so there's going to be 1,000. So you just multiply it together, so you're going to get 37,000. So well done, guys, for getting it correct. So question number 27. Nemo was driving to a hotel. He looked at his SAT navigation at 13:30, so at 1:30 p.m. Neymar arrived at the hotel at 2:48 p.m. working at the average speed of the car from 13:30 to 14:48. You must show all your working. So distance to destination is 65. So we know that it took him, that we know that we're going to be using the speed formula. So we know we're going to be using speed is equal to distance divided by time. So we know that formula. So the first thing you would do is that you have to calculate the time it took him. So he left at 13:30 and he arrived at 14:48. So 13:30 to 14:48, it took him 1 hour and 18 minutes. If you calculate that, it took him 1 hour and 18 minutes. 1 hour and 18 minutes. Okay? Is 1 hour and 18 minutes. And then you can convert the 1 hour and 18 minutes to only hours, which will be, let's convert it to hours, going to be 1.3 hours. 1.3 hours, okay? Now, once we have done that, we know that the distance was 65 miles. We have to calculate the average speed. So we know the time taken, we know the speed, we need to calculate the distance. The speed, we know the distance and the time, calculate the speed. So speed, distance is going to be 65 divided by 1.3. Use a calculator to get 50 miles per hour, which is average speed. 50 miles per hour. So, how do you find that question? Why is it 1.3? So, we converted the 1 hour and 18 minutes into hours only. So, we know that's going to be 1 hour, which we know it's going to be 1 hour, and then it's 18 minutes is going to be 18 over 60 minutes. We know that this in 1 hour there are 60 minutes, 18 over 60 minutes, and 18 over 60, if you simplify 18 over 60, it is 0.3 as a decimal. Okay? So do 1 plus 0.3, you get 1.3. Okay? So let's move on to our next question then. We only have a few more questions left. So question number 28. Write 32,460,000 in standard form. So whenever we have standard form, it's going to be in the form n times 10 to the power of our power. That is our form for our standard form. So we know that n, the first number, is always between 1 and 10. It's always between 1 and 10, okay? So we know that it's going to be 3.246 is between 1 and 10. And then we have to times it by 10 to the power of 10 to the power of our, what do you call it? 10 to the power of something. We have to find it out. It's going to be 10 to the power of 7, because if you move this up 7 times, then you would get, then you get your answer of 32,460,000. So you have 3.246 times 10 to the power of 7. Okay? Now, do you guys understand? So, cool. Now we need to write 4.96 times 10 to the power of -3 as an ordinary number. So we just have to convert this standard form into like a number like that. So we have 4.96, and we know that it's going to be 10 to the power -3. That just means that we have to move it back 3 spaces to the right. So move this 1, 2, 3 to the left. So we have 0.00496. That's going to be answer 0.00496. Now let's move on to the next question. Asma was asked to compare the following two numbers. A is equal to 6.212 times 10 to the power 8, and B, which is equal to 4.73 times 10 to the power of 9. Okay? Okay, why is it to the power of 7? This question over here, why is it to the power of 7? Is because we know that the first number is going to be 3.246. And then we have to move. We know it's going to be to the power of 7 because we moved this decimal point. We moved the numbers up 7 spaces to get to this specific number, 32 million, okay? So she says 6.212 is bigger than 4.3. So A is bigger than B. Is Asma correct? Is she correct? No. I think she's not correct. Yes, she's not correct. It says give a reason for your answer. What should I write? The reason for your answer. Let's just write 6.212 times 10 to the power of 8, which is less than 4.73 times 10 to the power of 9. So you want me to go through both of them again. So both of them. So this one over here. First of all, you guys know that the form is n times 10 to the power of n. That's the form, right? That is the form of the standard form. The first number is always between 1 and 10. So you instantly know that the first number should be 3.246 because that's the only way you can make it between 1 and 10. Okay? Now, once we have done that, we need 3.246. And we want this to turn into 32 million. How do you make it, okay? What do we need? We need to move 7 spaces up. 7 spaces up to make it 32,460,000. You just do you just count it and you get 7 spaces moving it up and you get 10 to the power 7. Okay? This is foundation, guys. It's paper-free calculator, so you can use a calculator for this. You can actually use a calculator to work this out, actually. So should we move on to our next question? So, question number 29. The diagram shows a regular pentagon and a parallelogram. Work out the size of angle marked X. Angle marked X. You must show all your working. So the first thing you would do is that you know that we have a regular pentagon. So we're going to use our formula of finding exterior angles. The formula to find an exterior angle is n, the number of sides, 360 divided by the number of sides. That is how to find one exterior angle. So if you do 360 divided by 5, which is the number of sides of a pentagon, you would get 72. You would get 72, right? So we know that this exterior angle over here, this is 72 degrees. right, is 72 degrees. Now we can work out the interior angle, which is, we know that in a straight line, angles add up to 180 degrees. So you would do 180 minus 72, which will be 108 degrees. So we know that this is going to be 108 degrees because we know that straight lines add up to 108 degrees. And then after we have done that, you know that in a parallelogram, opposite angles are equal, right? Opposite angles are equal. But we also know that co-interior angles are add up to 180. You know that these two angles are co-interior to each other. Because in a parallelogram, they're co-interior to. These two angles are co-interior to each other. So they add up to 180 degrees. So you would do 180 minus 170 degrees to get 63 degrees. Meaning that this angle right here is 63 degrees because they're both co-interior to each other. And then lastly, you have to find the value of x. We know that one interior angle in a regular pentagon is 108 degrees. So you do 108 degrees minus 63 degrees, which is equal to 45 degrees, which is going to be your x value. 45 degrees. Okay? So one of you guys get that correct. So what you just need to do is that you need to remember the key rules for angles. So you need to know co-interior angles. You need to know how to work out interior angles, exterior angles, and you need to know like parallelograms, opposite sides are equal, co-interior angles add up to 180 degrees, and then you'll be fine with this 4-marker question. Very, very easy to do. 4 marks. So, does this question make sense? Can we move on to our last question of the paper? Our last question. How do you find the number of sides on a shape? I forgot, is it like 360 divided by? To find the number of sides, you just do 360 divided by the exterior angle. 360 divided by the exterior angle is for the number of sides. So guys, let's move on to our last question. Question number 30, worth 3 marks. So A is in the shape of a quarter circle of radius 15 centimeters, and B is the shape of a circle. The area of A is 9 times the area of B. Show that the radius of B is 2.5 centimeters. The area of B is 2.5 centimeters. So first of all, the area of a circle. Area of a circle is equal to pi r squared. That's the area of a circle. Simple. Now this is a quarter circle, so we have to divide it by 4. So the area of shape A is equal to pi, then the radius, which is going to be 15 squared divided by 4, because this is a quarter circle. Yes, guys, the calculator paper, so you can just put this into your calculator. Now, when you put it into the calculator, this will simplify it for you to 9 pi r squared. Okay? Actually, it won't. So you know that if you do 15 pi, then you can simplify this to 9. It's going to be equal to 9 pi r squared. Okay. so we know that pi 15 squared over 4 is going to be equal to 9 times the area of B. 9 times the area of B is pi r squared. It's going to be 9 pi r squared times 9 times the area of B. It's going to be 9 pi r squared. Now you're going to rearrange this. So first of all, we're going to divide times by 4 on both sides. So you're going to end up with pi 15 squared is equal to 36 pi r squared. And then next you would do is that you're going to cancel out these pi's because you can cancel each other out. And then you're going to end up with 225 is equal to 36 radius squared. It's because you have 225, 15 squared is 225. And then lastly, you would divide by 36. You would divide by 36 on both sides, which will be 225 over 36, which is equal to r squared. And then lastly, to work out the radius, you have to do the square root of 225 over 36, which is equal to r, which is, when you put this into your calculator, you get 2.5, meaning that the radius of B is 2.5, guys. Where does the 9 come from? This 9 comes from is that we know the area of A is 9 times the area of B. The area of A is 9 times the area of B, so we know that we have to do it 9 times. Thank you for all the gifts, guys. Thank you for all the gifts. It's 3-mark question. Do you want me to explain it again? I'll quickly go through it again. So first of all, you know that the area of a circle is pi r squared. That's the basic. You need to know that the area of a circle is pi r squared. And then we also know that r means radius, right? We know that the expression for this, the area of this circle is pi r squared for B. That's the expression. And then to work out the area of A, it's going to be pi 15 squared. Pi 15 squared dividing it by 4. Because this is a quarter circle, you have to divide it by 4. Now once we have done that, you put them together. We know that area of A is 9 times the area of B. It's going to be 9 pi r squared. You're multiplying it by 9. We're going to put them together into one equation, pi 15 squared divided by 4, which is equal to 9 pi r squared. Now once we have done that, you're going to rearrange everything. So you multiply by 4 on both sides to get pi 15 squared, which is equal to 36 pi r squared. And then you'll see that we have pi's on both sides, cancel them out. Where did the 4 come from? It's because this is a quarter circle. This is a quarter circle, so you have to divide the area by 4. Where did you get 36? Where did I get 36 from? It's because when I got rid of my denominator and multiplying it by 4 on both sides, I have to do 9 times 4 to get 36 pi r squared. And then simplify it and I rearrange it to make r the subject. So then you would end up with 2.5, guys. So do you at least get some of the question? This is area of a circle. Area of circle. Area of circles. Where did he get 225 from? When I do 15 squared is 225, guys. This question is both foundation and higher. This also comes in the higher paper, guys. It's foundation and higher. Yes, you can also use a calculator. Now, this is, I am doing the foundation paper. This is the last question on the foundation paper, and this is like the 5th question in the higher paper of the same year. So for A, did the quarter multiply by the area of it? Yes. I divided by a quarter, divided it by 4 because it's a quarter circle. So do you guys understand now? That was our last question, guys. Last question. Aren't you meant to do something with the fact A is 9 times B? We actually did that because it said the area of A is 9 times the area of B. That's why the area of B, which is pi r squared, and we put it as 9 pi r squared. Put the 9 pi r squared, guys. Okay? Where did the 4 come from? This 4 is because it's a quarter circle, guys. Quarter circle, so we have to divide it by 4. A quarter means 4 parts, right? You divide it by 4. Okay? So, I feel like the overall paper was very easy.